The thing that I'm so impressed with you about, I don't know that you get enough credit for, and that is the entrepreneurial part of you that's much different than somebody who's a therapist. I mean,
always had my hands in a lot of different things.
You get bored easy.
I get
Let's
bored
go.
easy. That's the entrepreneurial part.
Yeah.
I call it getting itchy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I need to do something.
Most folks, they work for an agency or they work for a business. A lot of therapists. And then one of the things that is different about therapists, I think, than a lot of professions is that all of us feel like there's this option. At some point in time, I can go rogue and just be my own. I can just start a business in my basement, hang a shingle outside.
I think I'm going to do this thing called private practice counseling. And I'm going to leave the schools. I'm going to open a practice. And you have therapists for all ages, all situations, all concerns. We have 2 medication management providers, 2 nurse practitioners. So if you need a little additional support outside of therapy, we have that. And then, of course, our substance use intensive outpatient program. I want to write a book.
What would it be about?
It would be about reputation.
Hey everybody, John Eklund here, living on Incline, and I have Sarah Coates here with us, and she is the one who introduced me to Solomon over there, the genius behind this podcast, the evil genius, no, the amazing genius. Your podcast, turn your life around. Talk about it. Talk about your podcast. Tell people about your podcast.
Okay, cool. Well, I've taken a pause on recording my podcast.
I know, but people can go back and watch.
But you can go back and watch. We've got dozens and dozens and dozens of episodes.
Good stuff.
I started it in 2020 because I got a little bored, believe it or not.
We can talk about that. You have to just have stuff.
I
going on all
do,
the time.
Right, and so I did a podcast for a year, the Turn Your Life Around podcast.
Yeah, it was good.
You can find it on all the platforms.
Who was your favorite guest?
A guy named John Eklund. He's
guy,
so insightful.
That's
so easy
right.
to talk to.
That's right.
But yeah, I did that in 2020 for about a year, 18 months. Yeah. And then, it's a lot. As you know, it's a lot to do a podcast.
A lot of people like, and we're going to talk about this, say, man, it must be nice to be able to have a business. It must be nice to have a podcast, but people don't know what goes into it.
Right. It's like a whole other job doing a podcast. You have to find the guest. You got to prepare. You got to record the content. And then you got to find great editors.
Did you ever have a guest that you're like, this is tough? Like, because as a therapist.
That's right.
Sometimes I have people that I feel like I could just walk in, ask them one question, leave, go home, get something to eat, and come back, and they'd still be talking, and we'd be good. Like that's helpful sometimes, right? And then the people that you're just pulling. You had some guests like that.
Yes, and that's why in therapy, it's okay if they don't talk a whole lot. Right. It's okay to pause.
Yeah.
And just sit in the silence. In therapy.
Yeah.
But on a podcast, you can't do that.
You cannot.
So you're like trying to elicit all this conversation if they're not a talker. And so, yes, I've had hard podcast guests. Not that they're hard people, just the conversation didn't flow.
You're so nice. You're so
and
nice.
that's difficult.
They're not bad.
They're not bad people. They're just not conversationalists.
Right.
And I'm naturally a talker and a conversationalist, and I can listen. And
were you always that way? Were you a chatter?
Probably. I was one of those kids on the report card. It was like, excellent grades, talks too much in class.
Too much. Yeah.
But I was also a people pleaser. And so I would stop talking if I needed to.
We've talked about this in some of the codependent conversations we've had that we think most therapists probably a little bit have that.
For sure.
People pleasing.
Yeah. I was in a conference. I was a member, an audience member in a conference last week. And the gal up there was talking about something completely different, but she was using these terms like recovering people pleaser. She caught my attention. Some therapy terms. And I leaned over to the person next to me and I said, "Oh, she's been in therapy." Because she was throwing out some terms, boundaries, recovering people pleaser.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
Codependency.
Yeah.
100%. So you're all right. So what are the letters after your name? What do you got?
Well, I have a master's in counseling.
Okay.
And then I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor, which is a mouthful, LCMHC. And
used to be just LPC,
used to be licensed professional counselor.
But they want lots of letters after that now.
Yeah. And so now it's licensed clinical mental health counselor. I think the LPC, the professional counselor, left out clinical. Like it didn't acknowledge that we do clinical work.
Right.
And so the state of North Carolina changed it. I don't even know, 5-10 years ago.
Okay.
And so,
I've always said, I'd tell somebody, are you LPC? They go, that doesn't exist anymore. Because I'm an
Right.
LCS. I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
Mhm.
That clinical thing does feel important. Like,
well, I think in the therapy space, it's important.
Yeah. So how did this happen? How did we were talking about your kids. I got 4 daughters. You got 2. And how, like, I was going to say, my 4-year degree was in criminal justice. I didn't know what in the world I wanted to do. And so we're talking about like, one kid might be like laser focused. I know exactly. My daughter, she just full blown attorney at this point in time. Right. And she kind of knew exactly what she wanted to do. And then we got some that are kind of like, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. Where were you at? When did you know, like, maybe I want to do therapy?
In the middle of getting my master's degree. So I was a cheerleader in middle school, high school. I went to college to cheer. I didn't know what I wanted to major in. So I went to undergrad at Methodist College, now Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And so I really went there to cheer.
Did you get a scholarship? Did they do scholarship
Well, actually, ironically, I went to Liberty University for a semester. I did get a cheer scholarship there. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't a great fit. I always joke that it had more rules. It was stricter than my own home life.
Really?
And so I was like, this is not for me. I'm not going to stay here. So I transferred back home and went to Methodist and cheered there. Had a great experience. My undergrad major was in communications. And so when I got out of school, I worked in advertising for a little bit. I was again like, this is not for me.
How long were you doing that?
A whole summer.
Did you really?
The summer after I graduated college, I worked in advertising, selling advertising, working for this kids magazine. And again, I was like, this is not for me. I liked working with the youth. When I coached cheerleading, it was always with the youth. So I thought, well, I'll go back to school and become a teacher. I'll go to grad school, get a master's in education, do you can do like a teacher add-on thing. Yeah. I forget what it's called. And so I loved English. So I was pursuing a master's of education.
Are you a reader? You like to read?
I used to love books, love to read.
Have you written? Do you write?
I want to write a book.
Well, I was going to say,
my brain for 20 years or so.
Okay.
Never made time to do it.
What would it be about? I know I'm all over the place.
I know. What would it be about? It would be about reputation. Actually, like, have it written in my head. I've got a bunch of notes about it. I just need to do it.
Mm-hmm. I would have not, like, what? That was unexpected.
Yeah. I think that I probably just have like a whole life story about that, about people misunderstanding you or attaching certain words or terms to you, not knowing the real you. And how, I think God's rescued everybody's reputation. The society's going to label you, whatever they're going to label you.
Yeah.
And God knows who you are.
That's right.
And He's already labeled you. You're His child.
I would buy this book.
I know. I need to write it.
Come on.
So that would be my book about how God's rescued our reputation.
Do you have some favorite books, like when you're coming up? Like, I want to be an English teacher. Was there some kind of? Because I was a big reader. I loved all kinds of, like, I like the classics. I love Steinbeck and Hemingway and all them dudes. Was there some reason why English was?
Okay, no, not about books, more about I loved my English teacher in high school. I loved the classes. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to teach in high school, it's probably going to be English. So I started pursuing a master's degree in education, kind of a focus on English literature.
Okay.
And took a whole bunch of classes, I don't know, 4 or 5, and did a lot of reading. I remember that year, lots in reading. And then I had to take an elective. And so I took an intro to counseling elective. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I had to take another elective, so I took abnormal psychology. And I was kind of hooked, like, okay, I need to switch gears here. I don't want to teach kids. I think I want to be a counselor for kids. And so I had a handful of classes that didn't turn into anything and ended up switching into a master's of counseling focus. And then I became a school counselor. Instead of a school teacher, a school counselor. So I got a master's of education in school counseling.
Yeah, so how powerful, just that, thinking about that one teacher, how one person, one adult involved in a kid's life can
make the greatest impact.
Pretty huge, yeah. So you became a school counselor.
So I became a school counselor. And then while I was working in the schools.
High school, middle school?
It was middle school, actually.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. But
were you with one school? I know, but like they
yeah.
travel around.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Actually, I was. When I started, I was split between 2 schools. And then, the county was able to get another position for the one school, and I liked it. And so I stayed there. So I worked at, actually, you've probably heard of it, Riverwood Middle School in Clayton, North Carolina.
It's huge, right? That middle school is gigantic.
It had just started. I think it was open 1 year before I got there.
I just talked to somebody who was like, that school is gigantic.
Yeah.
And so you were in this middle school. That's tough. Middle schoolers are tough.
But I love that age, or I did. I mean, I still do, but
I know
they're so impressionable.
Yeah.
And so you can still, they're still forming their identity. They'll still listen to you.
They are. They're
not like 17.
Easier than high schoolers in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Harder in
a lot of ways too.
One of the toughest times of every human's life. Solomon, middle school tough for you? Huh?
Yeah, very, very tough.
Yeah, see, everybody had
adolescence is hard.
Yeah. Everybody had. What was the hardest part of middle school for you, Solomon? Come on, I put you on the spot here.
Probably being shorter than all the girls.
Hey, that was hard for me too.
Oh, was it?
I was shorter than all the girls also, and guys.
Yeah, middle school is torture.
Middle school is hard.
So you have this great opportunity to really impact a kid in middle school, and I bet you're awesome.
Honestly, awesome. Thank you for that compliment.
You're gonna say
talking about the height though. I mean, I do. I think kids weren't ever intimidated by me because I'm close. I'm their height.
Okay.
I'm approachable in that way. And so I've always been able to have great rapport with middle school age kids, high schooler kids. And so anyways, but I did that for a while and I enjoyed it, but yet it wasn't a lot of counseling. It was some, but it was
crisis
administrative, some disciplinary and stuff, testing. And I was like, this again, I'm close, but I'm not close enough. And so that's when I started pursuing my professional certifications to do licensed professional counselor. We just talked about a minute ago. You have to do supervision hours. Sure. You have to do all this stuff. And
that was the track you were on. And I think that's helpful for kids to hear, high schoolers like you.
Yeah.
You're not going to just go, most people aren't going to just go like this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
I figured it out at 27.
Right.
So, I have a rising, she's a senior.
Yeah.
So she's a rising college freshman at some point soon, very quickly. And she doesn't really know what she wants to do. She's narrowing the focus. And I'm okay with that. I think that's good for kids going into college. Have sort of an idea. Yeah. You don't want to be a doctor. You don't want to be a lawyer. You have some ideas, and that's okay. You don't have to know it all.
And you can't.
At 18.
You
can't.
Yeah.
But there's a pressure that they think they should.
I 100% agree. And I think that's a good, there was a book I read in college of decision making in the will of God. And it talks about how when Judas died, that the disciples had to pick a 12th disciple. Uh-huh. Do you know how they chose?
No, I don't.
They flipped a coin, basically.
For real?
Yeah. So they just drew lots.
Okay.
For the 12th one, because they had two. The author said there was two really good choices, and so sometimes that's how it is. Romans 8:28, all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. Sometimes I think you're just like, I think a lot of people think I make some wrong decision, and now I'm living God's plan B for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like trust the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and sometimes I think the more literal translation is He will straighten your path. It'll be all right. He's God. He's God.
He's God. He knows what's best. And He's already knows where you're going to go. I always have this analogy. I'm a very visual kind of learner person. I always have this analogy of God like the pinball machine. Yeah. So a pinball machine, you pull a thing back and it shoots the ball. And there are these paddles, right? And it keeps you on your course to the finish.
Yep.
To me, that's how I visualize God. I chose this college. And maybe you're like, shoot, I chose the wrong college. God's like, no, I got it. I'm getting you back. Me,
I agree with that.
I majored in whatever. And then I was getting off course. I was going to be a teacher, I thought. And God's like, close, but not quite close. Let me bat you back in the middle and
corralling
get you
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a shepherd.
Like a shepherd.
Yeah, right. I think that's what He is. So you're in this space now where you're like, all right, this is the thing that I'm so impressed with you about. And that I don't know that you get enough credit for, and that is the entrepreneurial part of you. That's much different than somebody who's a therapist. I mean, there's a lot of counselors, a lot of therapists. And then one of the things that is different about therapists, I think, than a lot of professions is that all of us feel like there's this option. At some point in time, I can go rogue and just be my own. I can just start a business in my basement, hang a shingle outside. What was it, Growing Pains? What was the show where the dad was like had a therapy office?
I think it was Growing Pains.
Just Growing Pains with Kirk
Kirk
Cameron.
Cameron.
Yeah. And the dad had a therapist
That's
office.
right,
Which
I forgot
it's like, I
about
don't know
that.
if you want to have, your clients come to your house.
No.
But I was always kind of enamored with that. Like but it's way harder than people could possibly imagine. And so most folks, they work for an agency or they work for a business. When did you I want you to think about, maybe you've thought about it. Maybe, when did you kind of go like, I'm kind of an entrepreneur. I kind of like to start things. Was that something early on? Were you like lemonade stands as a kid and all that?
No, not really lemonade stands, but so again, back to the cheerleading thing.
Okay.
So I thought for a minute that I was going to open a cheer gym. Like all-star cheerleading. Have you ever heard of that? It's like it's like travel baseball or travel soccer, but for
like
cheerleading.
Knicks kind of, don't they do some of that stuff? I know you're talking about, like club.
Like club cheerleading, but club for cheerleading. And so like that was just budding. It was just up and coming when I was in college. And so these cheer gyms were starting, and I thought, oh, I'm going to do one of those. And I actually got connected with a guy, a businessman, and his daughter was a cheerleader. And so
how old were you at this
So
time?
I was just out of college. So I don't know.
So you're already going, I'm going to start a business.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I could start a cheer gym. And so I think I was like doing some private coaching for the daughter. And the dad was a business guy, and his wife, they were business people. And they said, hey, let's start a cheer gym. And you can run it. And I was like, this is kind of a cool idea. And so we like leased some space out of a couple different places. Anyways, I was on the path thinking, I was going to do this. But his vision was kind of different than what I envisioned. And there was another director, and I decided I'm going to step away from that. But I think that's kind of when I started having this idea, like, I can do things.
And his vision wasn't yours.
Right.
So some part of you is going like, I feel like I can do these things.
And that's an entrepreneur mindset.
100%.
Like, I see an idea, but I think I can do it better, so let me go do it.
Right. And then, you don't want to get hamstrung on somebody else's. And I've done that. I think we've all done this early on, as you're kind of like facilitating somebody else's vision or dream. And that for an entrepreneur gets a little bit like, I don't want to keep doing this unless you're so aligned.
Right.
But even that, you just start to have this. So I'm glad you said that. I'm curious, like how early that stuff started bubbling up.
Right.
So your work as a school counselor, obviously you're working for schools, but how soon after, like, who did you work for, or did you work on your own when you first started?
So when I was working in the schools, probably after about 2 years in, I started thinking like, okay, again, I like kids. I like doing the counseling, but I'm not doing enough of it. And I want to do more of this. So my dad's he has a family practice, or had. He's retired now. But he said, why don't you talk to the LCSW I refer my patients to? Because it was in another town. And so I did. I sat with her, did like kind of a mini internship, so to speak, to see like, how do you even do a private practice? And I was in a situation at a time where I didn't have to be like a sole breadwinner. I was married. My husband was making a good living. And so I said,
good guy, by the way. I like that guy.
Thanks. He's a great guy. And so I said, hey, I think I'm going to do this thing called private practice counseling. And I'm going to leave the schools. I'm going to open a practice. And he was like, what is counseling? Like, he didn't really even know what I was doing.
So you were going to go right into doing
I was going to do my own practice, solo practice. And I did. And I only did it 2 days a week. And then
where did you do this?
In Garner.
So is it something you were sharing space with somebody?
I rented an office space.
Sarah,
again, see, that's the entrepreneurial thing. Like, just do it. Like,
so impressive.
And I think people don't realize, like, you're gonna fail at things.
Yeah.
Like, just try it.
But not everybody like can handle that kind of risk, right? I think that's the hard part when you're watching Shark Tank and these guys are coming out. And they're like, man, I've developed this product, and they're in front of all these guys getting criticism, and they've mortgaged their house.
Right.
And they're just smiling and like, this is the greatest thing in the world. Everybody's like, you're crazy. You can
crazy.
work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Come home, not think.
Well,
Right.
that's safe. And I think also probably my cheerleading background, just that, whether you're performing in music, theater, dance, cheerleading, even sports, it gives you a confidence about yourself.
And is there a little bit of an adrenaline too?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like a
That
dopamine
risk.
rush, this
Yeah.
risk, like, oh.
Yeah.
And so I did. I ran an office space. I was just going to work 2 days a week. And then I got pregnant with my first child, which was a total blessing because we had struggled for years. And I think stress probably had an impact. And then now I'm like doing my own thing, working kind of part-time, so to speak, at it. And I got pregnant. And
What was the stress?
probably self-induced. So working full-time.
Yeah.
I was also coaching cheerleading at Campbell University. So I
Oh,
would
wow.
leave the school at 4, speed over to Campbell University from Clayton to Bowie's Creek, coach cheer practice, do the games, like the whole thing. I mean, I was probably running myself ragged, but I was young. I didn't know any
How
different.
long where did you get? I don't even know your story. How did you meet your husband and where did you
We
meet?
met at Campbell.
Okay.
I was in grad school getting my master's. And I was a graduate assistant. So my GA position was in the athletic department, coaching cheerleading and doing some academic advising. Okay. So that's helping me, right? I've just kind of been one. I've always had my hands in a lot of different things.
You get bored easy.
I get
Let's
bored
go.
easy. That's the entrepreneurial part.
Yeah.
I call it getting itchy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I need to do something.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in that season now, sort of. I'm coming out of this really hard season of like drained, of like soul sucked.
And we're going to talk about
yes.
that. Yeah.
So the itchy part. But yeah, so I met my husband at Campbell. I was doing academic advising. I was staff member, I was a graduate assistant. I was on faculty.
That's kind of a big deal.
And he was a student.
Oh.
So we didn't do any dating. But I was like, oh, he's cute.
How'd you
played
guys
baseball.
connect?
So he played baseball at
Okay.
Campbell. And I ended up, scheduling the classes for the baseball players. So I knew of him,
You're kind
He
of
saw
working
me.
some things. You're working
Yeah.
some things. Yeah.
But after when he graduated, I think he jokes, it was like the senior athletic banquet kind of situation. At the end of it, I saw him in the parking lot. I was like, hey, give me a call. You're legal now. We can
I've been
date.
waiting. I've been waiting.
And he was like, I've been waiting too. No. Anyway, so that's how we met.
That's cool. What was his education background?
He majored in business.
Okay.
But
That's
again,
helpful.
he
Yeah.
majored in baseball.
Yeah.
Right. So he actually went on to play for the Atlanta Braves organization. Yeah,
I had no idea.
he did. He was a
No,
shortstop.
You're
Mhm.
kidding.
Myrtle
me.
Beach Pelicans was the I always forget. I think it's single A.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. That's awesome.
so he played for a little bit.
Wow.
That was a fun season of our lives. We were dating, but I would drive to Myrtle Beach. Again, working jobs, driving to Myrtle Beach, watching my boyfriend play
That's
baseball.
wild. Yeah. A little busy.
Little busy.
Yeah. When did you guys get married?
We got married in, oh gosh, you put me on the spot. 2003.
Yeah.
We've been married a while now, but 2003.
Wow.
Yep.
2003.
And so then I started my practice in 2007.
Okay.
And
What was he doing then? So
he's working for his dad. His dad and uncle had a heavy construction grading and hauling company. They had it for a long, long time, like 50 years or something.
Yeah. I've loved watching him support.
Yes.
You. It's pretty incredible.
His story's kind of cool too. He played baseball for like a year and a half with the Braves organization. Got released, after like a second spring training. And all he knew his whole life was baseball.
That was hard.
And so then he went to work for his dad and uncle. But I mean, that was, as a therapist, I know that was a hard season.
Well, I was going to say, what a change, and something kind of like, I have to admit this isn't working.
Yeah.
And you were there. And I know it's his story. We'll have him on next time.
Yeah, we
but
should.
How was that supporting him through that? I bet that was tough.
That was hard. Again, now looking at it, I don't know. How long's it been? A long time.
Yeah. 10 years ago.
20 some years, right? I mean,
5-6 years ago.
looking at it just like through a trauma lens.
Wow,
Like it was
yeah.
traumatic for him. All he knew was baseball. Like, he's like one of those played since 3 years old all the way up. And
Big
then
dreams.
for
Like,
that
this
thing
is
just to cut off. I mean, that happens in so many of our lives.
Right.
You have this dream, this thing you've pursued your whole life. It's all you know, and then it's gone. One day it's just gone. That's so traumatic.
It is. Yeah.
And so, he did what he thought was the next best thing, which was work for his family. But what did he really want to do? Play baseball. So I'm sure he had a season.
This episode is sponsored by Recovery Alive, a Christ-centered recovery movement helping people rebuild their lives, restore relationships, and renew their faith. Through safe recovery homes, life-changing support groups, and personalized coaching, Recovery Alive provides hope and a clear path forward for those battling addiction, mental health challenges, or life's toughest seasons. I've seen firsthand how this community changes lives, and yours could be next. Learn more at recoveryalive.com.
Sure, he did. We'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, he should come on.
Yeah, you would enjoy that, right?
Yes. But now he works for my company, which is amazing.
I saw him yesterday.
He's a huge help.
Great guy. So you're starting to think about, man, I'm propelling myself forward, and then you get pregnant, and you've been trying, but stress had kind of got you into a place where it wasn't happening, and you have this beautiful little girl.
Yep, we did. We had our first child, and I was pregnant, and so I had this office space and these clients, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I just started started this thing.
Do you remember?
I mean, it's 2 days a week, so maybe like 10 or 15, not many. And the psychologist called me out of the blue and said, hey, I'm a mom. I've got a couple kids at home. I'm looking for some part-time space to rent. And I was like, yeah, come on. And can you also take my clients? Because I need to go have a baby and all this stuff.
Okay.
So then she stayed on. And then pretty soon, as God does, he started orchestrating some things, and another mom wanted some part-time work, and then another mom. Pretty soon there was like 4 of us.
How did they know about you?
I think, well, I'd done some advertising, put my name out in the community.
You're good at that too, by the way.
Well,
I mean, that's huge, right? Yeah.
I kind of did. I did, my undergrad in that a little bit.
You're talking about some of your you do a little bit of marketing stuff. I said that was huge. So you're putting yourself out there, get a couple of people, hey, love to share some space with you.
Exactly.
And you were the hub.
I was the hub.
And so you're learning some things.
Uh-huh.
I can.
Yep.
I can start to. I mean, I don't think people understand how that a lot of these therapy offices work. Is it's almost like a salon where you're renting chairs. People are just like, hey, I'm subcontracting, and you're going like, I could make a certain amount of money and help a certain amount of people, but I had to start bringing people on.
Well, and the entrepreneurial part is, at that time, I just wanted to make enough to pay my rent of the office.
Yeah.
Right. So if these gals can join me and see enough clients that I don't have to pay the rent for this office, that's magic.
Brilliant.
I mean, that's kind of how.
No brainer.
No brainer. And then the next step was like, oh, well, now we can make enough to make the house payment, and so you just start growing it from there.
Yeah. And so like, I know it's a big leap. So like, how did you go from just kind of renting a little bit of space to going like, I think I'm going to build something a little bigger than this? Like, and I don't know how this all happened. I don't know how this all came about, but it's, that was 2000, when it was 2000.
So that was 2007, 2008. Probably by 2010, we had outgrown that space.
Right.
Clients were just calling. I thought, oh, what's the next thing?
What were you called at that time?
It was 180 counseling.
It was 180 right off the bat?
It was because I didn't want it to be Sarah Coates counseling when I registered with the state and with the IRS.
So the very first time you started a business is 180 counseling.
Right. And my sister-in-law actually came up with a name. I was like, what am I going to name this?
Is your sister-in-law like, make sure you tell people?
No, she's my sister-in-law actually. So, she's takes no credit, but she did. I was brainstorming like, what am I going to call this thing? And she said, what about like 180 something? Like you're making 100, you're turning around. And I'm like, that's brilliant. And so it kind of stuck in 180 counseling.
So it's been 180 counseling from the very
get-go.
beginning. That's very
I have
cool.
the papers, 2007, when it was registered with the state.
I took this kid the other day to Dairy Queen. Never been to Dairy Queen. I'm like, this is like un-American.
You've never been to Dairy Queen?
No, this kid I took to Dairy Queen. Never. No, that's crazy, Yeah. And I remember as a kid getting the ice cream cone with the hard shell on top. That's like the
dip
core
cone.
Memory.
That's cool.
The butterscotch one.
Oh.
Cool. So I'm there, and it's like they had like a timeline of like what they were. I think the first 20 years was a different name, and then 1950s it turned Dairy Queen. But so it's really cool to think like your origin story is it's 180 from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
So and I joined 2015. I've been there 16 maybe 9 years.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've been there 9 years. So
yeah, not 10 because I haven't given you your 10-year plaque yet. So
I get a plaque?
10. Yeah. It's a new thing we started. A
What?
gift and a 10-year plaque.
What's
We have a couple of
what's
these
the
now.
gift?
I can't tell you. You're going to get it
$10,000
next year.
bonus.
I don't want to
Praise
ruin the
God.
surprise.
I can't wait. All right. 10 years. Yeah. So I think it was 2016.
Yeah, that would make
something
sense.
like that. And then, so that was 2008, 2009. You're growing. What?
Probably 2010, I think we got a new space
Okay. Where was your first new space?
in Garner. So we
The
pretty
Garner
much
one is your
just-
first one?
Garner was my first space.
Okay.
It was like this 600 square foot office.
Is it the one that's
Suite.
still there?
It's off.
Is it Shipwash?
No, that's our current spot.
Okay.
You know where the Food Line is at 42?
Okay, yeah.
Back behind
Okay.
there.
Uh-huh.
Executive Circle was my very first office.
Nice.
It was like 2 rooms and a little workstation hallway and a bathroom. in
How
the back.
exciting was that?
It was great. My husband painted the walls for me. He put together my desk that we bought at Staples. I mean, come on.
Did you have back then? Are you doing ribbon cuttings back then?
No.
No.
No. It was do all the work yourself.
Right.
And then thank God we're in a position now that we can hire painters and movers and people to put desks together. I don't have to have my husband do that.
So you got this. Well, he does help. He was carrying some stuff. He had a
he's
drill
worker,
the other day.
But I'm saying, when we just did this recent office move, we hired movers.
Yeah.
And hired painters.
I had a lot of stuff in my office. I am so sorry about that.
It's
I probably
okay.
was the worst one. But
Were you mad when I was like, John, you're going to have to downsize a little bit?
No, because when I went into that one, it was like going to be a conference room. We're going to do groups. And so I completely, I didn't even use half that space.
Yeah.
It is nice.
Nice office.
We digress.
Yes.
So the Garner space, all of a sudden, like it had to happen fast. Because by the time I come on, you guys, that'd been 5 years later. You are in what, 2016, you're in like 4 locations? 5
Probably.
locations? So talk to me about that
So
growth.
so probably around 2010, we moved into a new Garner office. And I think we had maybe like 10 therapists at the time or 8 or something like that. And then I got itchy. That's that entrepreneurial thing. And I was like, I really want an office in Cary. Because I lived in Cary when I graduated college with my best friend and then moved back to Johnston County when I got married. And I really love Cary. So I was like, let's open an office in Cary. Why not? And so we did. So we opened an office there and hired some therapists. So that was probably around 2014, I think.
How hard is that hiring process? I mean,
it used to not be that hard.
Yeah. Okay.
The landscape has shifted so much. I mean, now we're 2025, almost 2026.
What's the shift? People want to work from home.
People want to work from home. There's a lot of these big private equity backed conglomerates that are just taking up.
I felt a little
space.
bit of on some of the like high telehealth,
I don't want to drop names because I don't.
I know, and it's fine.
But these big conglomerates,
Sure.
you see their ads on Facebook, and
Yep.
it's like, sign up today. You can do it. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
you can choose a therapist. You can switch anytime.
Yeah.
But the problem with those is the therapists leave because they don't pay them.
Right.
And they bombard them, and it's just difficult. So a lot of people new to the field do it for a quick buck.
Yeah.
To get their feet wet,
Mhm.
make some income while they're pursuing their real thing.
Right.
And so those therapists, those psychiatrists on those platforms change very fast.
Yeah.
And they abandon, not purposely, but like the clients are left hanging.
Right. Oh yeah.
So I don't feel very warm and fuzzy about those groups.
Yeah.
But
and how is that
nevertheless,
affecting the market?
So
they're pulling those.
they're
folks
pulling
in.
these folks. So you have new grads who I would love to hire.
Yeah.
And I'm not having access to them as easy.
Because they're way more aggressive. Those other folks are so
and
aggressive.
it's like they say it's instant.
You can make money this week.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Are they overpromising?
over promising.
Yeah.
Very much under delivering.
Yeah.
Again, I don't feel warm and fuzzy about those.
But earlier on, it's just a different world.
It was totally different. The landscape was so different. And of course, COVID,
Yeah.
2020 shifted things a big time.
I want to hit that because I think when I was writing some notes about talking to you, I thought 2 things I brag about you, by the way, a lot.
Oh, thanks.
2 things you were so ahead of the curve on. And that was, in my mind, and one was telehealth. It was like you were like a prophet. We were all doing telehealth, and I'm like, I hate this. Like, why is Sarah making us do this? This is just dumb, and it doesn't work, and people, blah, blah, blah. This isn't real therapy. Like, I had internal dialogue going like that. And man, it saved our hides. I mean, it saved my life financially and just and it works. I don't prefer it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
But it works. And it kept people who were isolated and therapy, all that kind of stuff. And so, but the other one was EMDR, which I have many regrets about because you guys were like offering trainings, and I'm in the big book. It talks about having contempt prior to investigation.
Oh,
and I had that with EMDR. I'm like, this is dumb. This is like, witchcraft, or it was
voodoo.
just like, voodoo or snake oil. And part of my struggle, Larry and I would talk about this because I think I probably influenced him poorly. Not that Larry's very influenceable, but we were both, because he did supervision, we were just both like talking about they use this for everything, anxiety, EMDR, anger, EMDR. But now I'm like, doggone it, I don't have it. I don't have the certification.
You didn't get trained in it, yeah.
No. So how do you stay on that cutting edge? Is it just you're just paying attention, reading stuff? You just seem like you're ahead of the game on a lot of stuff, on a lot of trends.
Okay.
And not just trends, but like the good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I pay attention, obviously, but I mean, I don't give myself that much credit. I just literally think God has had his hand on my head and my company from day one.
I agree.
Like, he knew that I wasn't going to do this. I was going to do this. And he's just literally poured favor on it.
But you're a pro. I mean, you're very careful. Like, you're wearing pink and blue proud because that's the 180 colors, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I think those are the things that people are like, people are just watching you, but you're very intentional.
Yeah.
And so I think
pink's my favorite color too. So I have
that's fine. But I think that professionality is what separates you to some extent. Even like how detailed the website is, like,
yeah.
And you stay on top of these things. And I think, like, I'm going to lead into this, whatever time we got, but I want to lead into this part where you talked about, well, first of all, how many locations are you in at this point?
So we have 6.
Yeah.
And this past year, last October, this October's been 1 year. So we launched a substance use intensive outpatient program.
SAOP.
So that's like a whole other office. So it's 6 locations, but then we have the 7th thing, which is like a whole other office. So anyways,
Emily's
the director of that.
Great job.
And it has been a whole learning curve, a brand new thing. And so 6 locations and the substance use
and the
program.
SAOP. How you feeling about SAOP?
I think it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's going very well. Yeah. It can be so much better on the business side, but we have to get there. Insurance paneling, the back end. But the clinical part, Emily is rocking it out.
Yeah,
people's lives are getting changed.
Absolutely.
People have
100%.
already graduated the program. We have new calls. I mean, we got 2 new calls yesterday for the program. I mean, it's doing well clinically.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you got basically that going on. And then, so we're talking about what are the things that triggers me? And I don't want to just use that word lightly, but something that actually, like, I can feel my blood boil and I just get upset, is if somebody begins a conversation, well, it must be nice. It must be nice to be able to sit in your, for us, for Recovery Alive, like, to be able to have all these great staff people and to be able to just do, what you're doing and work your own hours, whatever they might say. And I just go, like, you don't know what it took for me to get to where I'm at. And that's sometimes it feels prideful, but you just want to go, like, I wish you could know how hard I've fought, like what I've had to go through to get to this place. And I saw an email that you sent. And I won't like detail, but like, you sent an email. So I work in the Clayton office and do therapy there, and got some caught in the wind that we're gonna have to move.
Right.
This is a while back. Like, some other entity was taking over our space, so we got to move. And for me, it was just like, oh, okay, that's gonna happen sometime. But I got your email after we moved. I moved in this week to our new office. Beautiful, great job. By the way, it's amazing facility. But I got your email and I was reading it, and it was like, hey, please don't put anchors in the walls, which I had done at the last place. He's probably talking to me. Please be careful of the walls and do all this. It's because, and it was this because part. Over the past year, I've been working on getting this space, and there was just some feel to it that was like, you don't know what I had to do to get this space, so please take care of it, right? Can you just talk about, because I think you're talking about a season that's been really tough.
Yeah.
I think that kind of encapsulates, in my mind, what an entrepreneur or a business owner, somebody has to go through to do what they do that people will never know about.
You ever seen those iceberg images, memes, where it's like the tip of the iceberg is the new office, and then underneath it is all the crud you've had to deal with, all the things. And so my plan for 2025 was to launch our SAOP program and make it really successful and probably open another office location. That was my plan for 25. On January 9th of 25, so almost a year ago, because we're moving into 26, I got an email from the landlord group, the ownership group of one of our office buildings, the Clayton office building. Hey, we're selling this building. This is your new landlord. Well, okay. So the new landlord, again, I'm not going to name drop, but it's this really big entity. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay. And so we go through that.
You just got the email and didn't really think too much of it?
I didn't. I was like, oh, that's weird, but okay. Yeah. Big deal. New landlord, new ownership of the building. I'm still here. I have a lease through eons, whatever. And then
you had signed a lease for how long? How long did you have the lease?
I think 7 years.
And
we signed a lease in 21 for 7 years.
And so
through 28.
You're locked in
Locked
contractually.
in. So I'm like, whatever, no big deal. I got a new landlord. I'll write a check to a new person. Big deal.
Right.
And then about a month later, the transaction had happened. The building was sold to the new group. And then the new group ownership, leadership, whatever, representative wanted to meet with me. And they dropped a bomb on me. Hey, we're getting ready to gut this building. We're remodeling it for this new purpose. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work for me. Like, I'm doing private therapy.
Right.
It's quiet.
Yeah. Jackhammers.
Replacing the elevator, new roof, all these things. And I'm like, well, I can't stay here. And they were like, we're sorry. I mean, they're very nice. They were very nice and professional.
But they have their agenda.
But they have an agenda and I wasn't going to be in there.
You're not in it.
And so I'm like, oh, well, my attorney will be contacting.
Because you've got a lease.
I have a lease. And so these are the things people know nothing about. I had to hire an attorney that can help me navigate that. Like, I've never had to do that
before. This entity has got resources.
Trillions. Not even B with a boy. Trillions.
Yeah.
I mean, they're huge.
Sarah, that's David and Goliath. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
It was David and Goliath.
It was David and Goliath because they are.
Except they weren't mean. So it wasn't, they weren't.
I know, but you got to fight.
But I had to fight.
You have to fight. You got,
and I have to advocate for myself and figure out what's going to happen.
Small business versus
conglomerate. And so I had to hire an attorney. I had to then start a search for a new office space. Well, if you know anything about the town of Clayton, there's no office space.
There's nothing in North Carolina. It's crazy.
At least not big enough for my practice.
Which
location.
Clayton was? Is it the biggest or is Garner?
It was tied for Garner.
Yeah.
You know, we probably had about 17 therapists in that location at the time. And
I really liked my windows.
Good. Yeah. So, you know, then I have to hire a commercial agent to help me find space. And that was months of searching because, again, there's nothing. And then I'm like, wait a second, I am going to get screwed here because I'm getting kicked out, quote unquote. I'm getting removed from a building.
For sure.
And now I have to go upfit a space. I don't have the money for that.
Right.
Like, again, I'm David. I'm not Goliath.
No, that's right.
And so then I have to hire somebody to help me negotiate up, you know, getting out of these contracts and what we're going to do to fund the next thing. And so it has been a whole year of literally energy draining activities, things I'd never planned for, didn't want to do. And at first I was really resentful about it. Like, what the heck, God? I mean, literally I'd be driving, having these conversations like, are you freaking kidding me? Why is this happening?
Right. Angry at God.
Not really angry because
Is that okay to be sometimes a little bit angry?
That's a very human response
to
things, to feel anger at God. But then I quickly was reminded, like, God has always promised me. He promised me in 2015 when we had a big shift. He promised me again in 2020. And ironically, here we are, another 5-year increment later, that he's always doing a fresh new thing.
Yeah.
Like he's making waves in the wilderness.
And by the way, I think during this last year, that's not the only hard thing that you had to deal with, right? I mean, you had some losses, you had some.
Well, that was part of it. You know, the Clayton office started to kind of organically downsize. Yeah. And at first I would panic and then I was like, wait, God is making waves, you know, because we're obviously going into a smaller space. And so some people left And we're still trying to on the side grow this IOP program.
Oh.
And that's a whole headache, and getting that facility ready. And so at the very end of the day, we finally moved in, just last weekend. So November 15th.
Yeah.
So from January to November, this project has taken up my whole year, but I've learned so much.
What have you learned? Give us give us some lessons. What are some lessons?
Well, I've learned how to negotiate buyouts of contracts. That's pretty cool.
Well, I would say the guest that was just on, it's the track of our lives. God, I think, does prepare us for things in the future that we never
100%.
saw coming.
Yeah.
Through those trials in
Yeah.
ways like, I got this. I was equipped with this thing so that later on I could have this thing. And so you are becoming an expert in things that you're like, I would have never gone out, but I think I'll become an expert in contracts. And
Yeah.
but all of a sudden it's like you have that experience, you have that ability. And I think in your world, real estate, being able to, figure out leases, all that kind of stuff, just the bigger you grow, it can't hurt to have it in your pocket.
It can't hurt to have it. I think the biggest thing I've learned this year is deeper trust in God.
Yeah.
Because any trial you go through strengthens your faith if you allow it. You could turn against God and be angry and allow the trial or the challenge to make you bitter. Or you can say, what is God teaching me? How's this growing my trust? And I also continue to see, and this is something I learned over the year, or recognized further, is God plants trees for you before you even know you need to climb them.
That's right.
Right? Like Zacchaeus, right?
Yeah.
He planted that tree.
That's good. No.
100 years before Zacchaeus climbed it, right? Wait, was it Zacchaeus? Yeah.
Yeah,
Zacchaeus
he was a wee little man,
right.
little man.
But that tree had been there for how many years
I never
before
thought of that.
Zacchaeus?
That's good.
Okay, I see that happening in my life with God all the time.
Yeah.
So all these things that I had to go through this year, the people that I hired or worked with were all connections from previous connections.
Oh, yeah.
Like my husband built a house for somebody years ago. Well, that guy's best friend owns a commercial real estate company. It's like these things. You call up somebody, they're like, oh, I got a guy for that. Oh, I got a gal for that.
Yeah.
And so that just helped deepen my trust.
Professionally, too. I mean, love that, saying you don't, a lot of people will talk about how trials will grow your character, but I think it reveals your character more than it does anything else. Like, let's see what you can handle. Let me see how much you actually trust me. We'll see how this goes.
Right.
God might be saying. But then there's some professional development pieces as well along the way. And I think it's valuable. I don't, our audience on Living on Incline is recovery people, but also like I'm hoping we start to get some folks who maybe some entrepreneurs are paying attention, some people who want to take some risks. Living on Incline is about going like, I want to wake up in the morning and I don't want to be like, how easy can I make my day? But like, what kind of challenge? And that's you. Like, the itch. What can I do today to
how can
grow,
I move my company forward today?
Or start a new company or do something I never thought I could do before. And so I think some of those like coaching pieces, networking.
Yeah.
How important is networking?
Huge.
To being successful in what you've done.
Well, and I just give this small example. Right. Like that was networking, so to speak.
Right, 100%.
But in our world, in the therapy space, but also I think any kind of industry you're in, I mean, relationships are everything. Yeah. Connections. That is how business is done, is through connections.
And Tisha was just at was it a luncheon that you guys were at? That's the kind of thing that I see you at all the time.
Right.
Doing those kinds of things. That's an important piece, is going like, I'm seen in the community. You're more than I'm just a therapist. No, your business is a member of the community.
Right.
And helps the community. Right. We always have boxes of food drives in the kitchen or stuff for back to school backpacks and stuff like that. That's networking as well.
It's networking. It's getting your name out there, making sure people are aware of when they need you. Who's that company, that therapy company I see everywhere all the time? Oh, yeah, 180. Let me call them because now I need them.
Yeah. They're known.
So it's huge.
100%. So somebody who's starting off, wants to start a business, like, do you have some like basic advice to the person who's like, hey, I want to take a risk. I want to try something. I'm scared. I don't know how this thing's going to go. comes
Yeah.
to you, sits down in your office. Sarah, you've done this before. What would be a few things you tell them?
I actually coined an acronym for this a while back. I think
another book.
Maybe a chapter in my book. Yeah. I don't even know. But grow. Okay. So, for me, the way I've lived through this, I mean, we've been open for 18 years.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll get to 28 years
Absolutely.
too.
100%.
But, to me, God's at the top, right? So God is my
Capital
focus.
G.
Grow. The G stands for God. Yeah. Focus on God. Seek first the kingdom of God. All these things will be added unto you. That's kind of been my life verse since I was in high school.
Everything will take care of itself.
It will. It might not look the way you wanted it to, but it is going to be okay.
That's part of the trust.
So that's God for grow. And then risk. The R is risk. You have to take risk.
100%.
If you're risk adverse, you're not going to be successful in a business space.
How do you overcome that? Some people, I almost think, so I played football in college, and I remember there was a guy on our team who was a monster. He would go in the weight room, and I want to say his bench was like 550, maybe 6. He was so strong. He was a monster. But when he got out onto the field, he just wasn't aggressive enough.
Right.
And our coaches, even in high school, I always heard kind of this term, like, you can't teach that aggression. Like, if a kid's just not aggressive, you can't teach it or coach it. And can you coach someone to be more less risk avoidant, less risk averse?
Maybe. I think maybe through a few experiences, they might feel like, oh, I took this risk and I was successful.
There
so
it is.
then I can do it again.
That's the right answer. I think it's because it's faith ultimately.
It is.
And I think some people just aren't built for that. Like, they're just going to lose their minds. Some people are like, yeah,
Yeah.
Roll the dice. Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
But some of it is going like, I just have to be willing to put it all on the line.
Yeah. Ooh. And maybe people can practice doing a small thing.
That's good.
And then it's successful and they feel good confidence. And then they do a bigger thing.
That's really
And then
good.
a bigger thing. But then there are certainly personality types that are like, I'm putting all of it on the line.
Which might be overcorrecting.
But, and I think there's lots of those stories. Probably Jeff Bezos is probably the greatest story of that.
I was just talking about that, like the Disney.
Yeah.
You hear all the stories, like they bankrupt a bunch of times.
Yes.
And they had nothing. And I just saw a YouTube clip, some kids sitting around starting YouTube and going like, man, this thing, we only have 9 videos, like the little geeky kids,
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I do think that you have to, risk means I might lose a lot, but what's the worst thing that could happen?
That is it. And so I used to think that, like, okay, I'm going to try this thing, and what's the worst that could happen? I still have a license. Like, even if it all went away, I can still be me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
And see clients and make a livable income, period.
So having that, like, itch is helpful too, to say, like, I can do a lot of things, and I am doing a lot of things. And that's me. I just can't sit still, man. I want to have my hands in a bunch of different buckets. Just because I don't know if it's boredom or I don't know what it is, but I think that helps. It's almost having, like, instead of having like a 2-legged stool, having like a 30-legged stool. You pull one leg off, you're fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's diversification also, right?
Because that's not part of grow. You have to add a couple of
so O is, what is my O? Now I'm blanking a minute. Optimism. I'm probably just an eternal optimist. Like, things are just going to work out.
Yeah.
They might suck while they're working, but they're going to work out and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that's the O. And then W stands for work. I mean, hands down, you have to work. I've probably grinded forever.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole generation right now that is work adverse. They don't want to work.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't get it. They're just comfortable with just whatever.
What is it? You say you don't get it, but like, you're a therapist. So is there a mindset shift? Was it after COVID?
I think it definitely happened after COVID.
Yeah.
For me, when I was getting out of college, I wanted to go move out in an apartment with my best friend in Cary. That was expensive. I had 4 jobs just to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I've always had that mindset. Like, do whatever it takes. I want nice things. You got to work for it. And I don't know that people appreciate nice things or have a drive to want nice things. Like, they're okay with this. And I mean,
mediocrity.
That's fine. I mean, maybe it's mediocrity. For me, it looks like mediocrity, but maybe for them, it's just comfortability and that's just enough. I'm not wired that way. Like, I want more.
Yeah. And
I don't mean materialism. I just mean, like, I just want to feel like I'm doing more.
I feel like mediocrity is definitely something, like, the base standard, the mediocrity has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's increased? Complaining.
Yes.
About mediocrity. Like it's someone else's fault.
Right.
And so that's the part I struggle with is like, maybe you're okay with mediocrity, but for the most part, people seem like they're very like, nobody will pay off my school loans.
Yes.
And you're like, well, who was supposed
Right.
to? Like when you signed that, do you remember being off? I mean, I understand you're a 19-year-old kid and you just said, I'll sign up for $120,000 with education, become a teacher and make 38. But you signed it. And so I just think like you and I have had this conversation, like parents even prepare. I feel like parents are a lot to do with, you know, it's easy to sit and be criticize parenting, but it feels like we're just not doing some of us are not doing a great job preparing our kids for like, hey, this is, this is going to be really hard. And so we've got to let you go through hard things, which is an extension of our codependency.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So what entitlement? Yeah, some entitlement out there. Yeah. But I do think like after COVID, we did see a bit of
and I think around COVID timeframe, I kept thinking like, we're going through this collective trauma.
Yeah.
And it's going to show up somehow, some way a few years down the road. And I think that's what's starting to happen with our society. I think it's showing up. I think there's a lot of envy, jealousy, pride, a lot of complaining, negativity. In the business world, it's always, I need to make more money. I need to get paid more. I'm not paid my worth or my value. Right. And as a older person now, you know, I'm like, well, work harder, see more clients. Yeah. I can't afford to live. Well, get a roommate. You're single. Like, why are you living on your own? Aren't you bored? Aren't you lonely? You know? But,
aren't you bored? Aren't you lonely? Yeah.
Don't you need a roommate? Help split the cost up, and then you have a built-in friend. I don't know,
Right.
but yeah, I think work is the W for grow.
I love it. So, still seeing clients?
A couple. I mean, I got to keep my feet wet. I got to keep my license. I'm getting ready to bust out a whole bunch of continuing ed credits so I can renew my license. But I do enjoy seeing a few.
Did you procrastinate?
Yes. But I've been busy this year.
I'm in the same boat, man. I got to renew, and I've got a lot more to do in the next few weeks.
Same. But it'll happen. Yeah. We'll get it done. We'll maintain a license. But yeah, I do see just a handful of clients.
What are some trends now in the therapy world? Do you think what's coming next? I mean, I know we're attachment and levels of trauma and big capital T trauma, little T trauma.
I think there's a lot. There's some newer trauma treatment modalities that are popping up. Like EMDR was such a buzzword, hot back in 2017, 2018, and it's still lots of people seek it out. But there's things like ART, accelerated resolution therapy, I think it's called, brain spotting, the flash, kind of these derivatives of EMDR, but faster, quicker, help people heal sooner. And I think that's important. It
seems like a lot of spinoffs. I just did a training on emotional clarity, which seems like a spinoff of emotional intelligence, where it's like, and I love it. You know, I got the feelings wheel in my office on a pillow, and people really, especially men, are like, how do you feel? Bad.
Angry.
Sad. Angry. And mostly angry.
Yeah.
And to kind of like have layers of, if
I like that.
Yeah. If my wife and I are at a party or something and I'm just chowing down hors d'oeuvres, and she looks at me, she says, do you think you've had enough hors d'oeuvres? And she does it in front of a bunch of people. I'm going to be angry, but what's the real emotion? Like if I get underneath of it, what happened?
You're embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
Yep.
Disrespected.
Disappointed,
insecure, triggered. My dad used to call me fat, or I don't know. It could be 1,000 different things. So just to be able to go like, let me get those layers and get some of that emotional clarity so I can attack this thing correctly. Because say that emotions are like the engine lights of your car. Like there's nothing wrong with the engine lights. They're working perfectly. Like if my oil gauge goes on, I don't go to the mechanic and go, could you turn that oil light off?
Right.
He's like, no, that's working. We got to find out what it is. And I think that's something that I see as it's an important piece that I hadn't thought about a year ago. Like we're starting to head in those directions. So
cool.
I agree. I think these are derivatives of other things. And I think that's always probably been the case. But you're amazing. Sarah Coates.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yeah. You're going to start yours back up in January, I heard.
I would like to. I'm not itchy yet because I'm still breathing.
Hey, what's your next itch? You got something else brewing. What are you thinking?
Well,
Another location?
Definitely another location. We're already thinking about that.
You're down
I
in
don't
Wilmington.
want to spill my secrets.
Okay, but you're down in Wilmington. How's that going?
Wilmington's great.
I would think everybody want to go to Wilmington, man.
Yeah, Wilmington is an interesting landscape. Also, I laugh and I say, those people don't need therapy. They have sunshine and beach.
But the college.
But the college, we get a lot of referrals from the college. So Wilmington's doing great, and then we've got the 3 triangle offices: Raleigh and 2 in Cary, and then 1 in Clayton and 1 in Garner, which is Johnston County, part of Garner. So 2 in Johnston County, 3 in Wake County, 1 in New Hanover.
What's that, Holly Springs?
We used to have Holly Springs. We merged that. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, that was a whole other move we did a couple years ago. Yeah, we merged 2, a Cary and Holly Springs, to make a bigger Cary office.
So you're not going to give us a hint on what's cooking next?
I don't know. Maybe I need to write a book.
Let's go.
Book and a podcast. That could be cool.
Thanks for endorsing my book. That was very special.
Thank you for writing it. I hear a lot of people are doing a lot of great work with that manual.
Well, Sarah Coates, thank you so much. If you need therapy, man, 180 Counseling.
180nc.com.
180nc.com. What else do you need people to know?
Reach out to us. We have therapists for all ages.
Yeah.
All situations, all concerns. We have 2 medication management providers, 2 nurse practitioners. So if you need a little additional support outside of therapy, we have that. And then, of course, our substance use intensive outpatient program, which is 3 times a week for 3 hours out a day, or 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
That's what IOP is. And so it's just faster recovery.
And Emily's a superstar, and we take all kinds of insurances.
All kinds of insurances. And if we don't take your insurance, I promise you we'll work with you.
Yeah, the self-pay is really good. Very, very generous. So anyway, hey, thank you so much. Again, Living on Incline, hit that subscribe button. And thank you again to Sarah Coates for hanging out with us. Have a good one. Hey, thanks again for joining us on Living on Incline, sponsored by Recovery Life. Would you do us a favor and just hit that subscribe button, share with your friends. And again, we want to explore our full God-given potential and see what we are capable of. So again, hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for joining us on Living on Incline.